All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Brooks, and I am the director for the Governor's School for the Arts. And welcome to today's session, where we'll meet a faculty member from our art form, Theresa Bautista, and chat with them about the GSA from what GSA is and looks from an application standpoint. There will be a time for Q&A at the end of today's presentation. So feel free to use the Q&A feature in Zoom to ask your questions, not the chat. So please use the Q&A feature in the Zoom, but not the chat. Also, to those who may be streaming in from Facebook, hey, to our virtual folks, I will be able to get to the Facebook post towards the end, and we'll be able to pull your questions from there as well. You should also receive a survey at the end of today's session. This session helps GSA assess how we are recruiting, so we'll take a moment to fill that out as well. And before we even move forward, I'm going to allow our dance adjudicator, Theresa Bautista, to introduce themselves as we move forward.
Hello, everyone. My name is Theresa Bautista. I've been teaching for the Governor's School for the Arts for over 20 years now. I'm currently a dancer, choreographer, interdisciplinary artist, and arts educator based in Louisville, Kentucky. I also currently teach at the Louisville Ballet School as well as the University of Kentucky's Department of Theater and Dance.
So, other words, she is about that business as it deals with dance. So, before we even get started, good into it, we have a quick poll that we're going to launch. And we kind of want to know where everybody's coming from and who's actually in the actual group. And so, if you can take a quick look, let's check out this poll. There's three quick questions. If you could fill those out for us, we would greatly appreciate it. We just kind of want to know, are you a high school student? Are you a parent, a guidance counselor, students in the ninth grade or younger, a teacher? Let us know. We'll give you just a few seconds. All right, in just about 10 more seconds, and then we'll get going. All right, it looks like within our poll, we have the majority of our folks are high school students in the 10th or 11th grade, and we have at least two parents joining us. So, hey, young artists, and hey, parents, it's good to see you. I believe that we have a lot of dancers. Obviously, this is a dance webinar, but it looks like we may have a drama student in here as well, checking us out. So that's great. And then again, we have about 4 out of 6 folks have attended the GSA Web 101 webinar. And at least two folks have not attended a webinar. So all right, that lets us know and allows us to kind of benchmark where we need to kind of go from here. So a lot that you've already seen from the GSA 101 webinar will be somewhat of a repeat, but it will be in a quicker format. And then we'll actually be able to go through all of your questions and then go through the dance applicant guide where we're able to kind of go through it piece by piece. And then you're able to ask questions of Theresa about the dance applicant guide, who shall be one of the adjudicators for the dance section. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, if you are not already aware, today's session is part of a larger series of virtual info sessions GSA is hosting throughout the fall for applicants, parents, and educators. We hope you'll take advantage of these many resources to learn more, ask questions, and connect with the GSA team. So here's our application timeline. And so for a lot of you, you've already participated in a GSA 101 webinar. Our second one of the season was October the 15th, which I put on. That was me that facilitated that. Myself and Jessica Graham, our program manager. And then there is another GSA 101 webinar coming on November the 6th. So if you would like some more detailed information about the application timeline or just about GSA as a whole, come to the GSA 101 webinar on November the 6th. And then if you're not able to get to any of those other webinars outside of these art form specific webinars, join us on our last GSA 101 webinar, which is December the 9th. In addition, the application portal for GSA is open now. It was open on October the 4th, and so you can start to kind of go into the applicant guide and to accept it to kind of see what the process looks like. And we'll be able to provide you some with some insight here moving forward. There is also an application walkthrough video that has been released, and so we'll be able to provide you with that information as well. So to kind of help you walk through how to submit the application requirements as well. And then if you are a dancer or a part of a different art form and want to see some additional webinars on other art forms, there are, I believe, 4 additional webinars coming up, which is visual art on November the 5th, vocal music on November the 7th, film and photography on November the 7th, and creative writing on November the 14th. Musical theater, instrumental music, drama, and design have already passed, but you can go on to our website and or to Facebook to check out those specific webinars if you have any questions. All right, we're going to keep going. So throughout this whole process, please remember that these info sessions are not the only way to get information about the GSA application process. You can contact GSA with any kind of question at the GSA helpline at 502 566 5192, or you can email us at gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org. There are no scary adults at GSA waiting to judge you. There are no scary adults. We are all laid back. We're artists, right? We are not, we don't take ourselves too seriously. And we love chatting with all of our applicants, and it is our pleasure to do so. It is also our job. So, also, if you get a chance, follow us on Facebook, the Kentucky Governor School for the Arts, and Instagram at KYGSA. So let's do a quick review of some information about GSA and the summer program. GSA is a 3-week residential summer program that takes place on a college campus. This year, it's at the University of Kentucky. Students attend GSA for 1 out of 9 art forms, and the program is completely tuition free. So we never ask you to pay anything outside of the application fee. Students are immersed in an intense, challenging, and exhilarating learning environment in 1 of 9 art forms. And while each student focuses on one art form that they are attending for GSA, interdisciplinary collaborations is a major component of the program, meaning students are also expected and exposed to engage with other art forms other than their own. We expect to take approximately 512 students between the 2 sessions to supplement our current funding provided by the Kentucky Department of Education. So let's check out what our 9 art forms are just for the sake of it, just because to kind of give them some reverence, even though we're talking about dance. And so our 9 art forms are creative writing, dance, design, drama, film and photography, instrumental music, vocal music, visual art, and musical theater. You can apply up to 2 art forms, but you can only attend for one. I'll say that again. You can apply for dance and you can apply for visual arts. But if you get accepted for both, you can only choose one to go, and you can only attend GSA once. We want to be able to save that additional seat for later on for other young artists that are coming up through the ranks of the Commonwealth. So let's quickly review some information real quick. While we are thrilled to speak about GSA's dance today, we're confident today's session will be helpful. Remember, today's virtual information will not be 100% comprehensive, and there are some other very important resources you should utilize to learn more about the program and the application, all of which are available on our website at kentuckygsa.org. After we get done with the formal slideshow presentation, we are actually going to go through the dance applicant guide with Teresa Bautista, and just kind of just hit some pieces on the preliminary round, which is round one on your submitting, and then also the final round, which is in person for dance. And then we also encourage you to attend one of the art form specific webinars. Obviously, you're attending dance, so you're in a good spot. So start preparing and uploading your materials nice and early. One thing that we've experienced over GSA throughout the years is that we get a lot of students and a lot of young artists that wait until the day before or the day of the deadline to upload their material. And anybody knows that, software and computers get a little wonky. We want you to get all of your materials in as soon as possible, preferably a few weeks before the deadline, just in case there may be some issues with the video or the upload, or maybe you're still waiting on a recommender or a recommendation letter. So, just a few items of note. Students must be currently a sophomore or junior to apply. So, you got to be a sophomore or you got to be a junior to apply for GSA. We will not ask for your GPA, your SAT, or your ACT scores during the process, and you can only apply up to two art forms. There is a $35 application fee collected just before submitting your application. There is an additional $15 fee if you apply for two art forms. So if you're applying for one, that's $35. If you're applying for two, the second one will be $15. Students on free or reduced lunch can have this fee completely waived by the click of a button on the application, no questions asked. And so we don't require any type of email or confirmation on that you're on free or reduced lunch. It doesn't matter to us. If you click the button on the application, and say that I'm on free or reduced lunch, it waives the application fee for you. One thing that we take pride here at GSA is that we never want monetary restrictions to be an issue for you to be able to apply, nor do we want money to ever be an issue for you if you're not able to afford any of the resources or supplies that are required. We will take care of that for you within reason. And so if you have some issues with monetary obligations or even trying to get some resources based upon the art form, just let us know through the GSA info email, and we'll help take care of that for you. So the GSA application is due by the end of day, January 12th. Now note, this is a Sunday and the GSA office is not staffed on weekends, meaning that January 10th, Friday at 5 p.m., we are no longer in the office. That's why we always tell all of our applicants, please get all of your materials submitted, preferably right after the first of the year or even throughout December. Because you never know, there will always be an issue with technology. Technology is great until it isn't great, right? So please make sure that you get your information and all of your stuff submitted to, accepted to the online platform a few days, maybe even a week before the deadline. Let's see where I'm at. We recommend completing your application at least 1 week in advance. Like I said, to the deadline. Students will learn if they've advanced to the second and final round on February the 14th. About 1 month before the final round, auditions/reviews take place on March 21st and 22nd. I'll say that again. We recommend completing your application at least 1 week in advance of the January 12th deadline. You will learn if you've been advanced to the second and final round on February the 14th, and 1 month before, about 1 month before the final round auditions, reviews take place on March 21st and 22nd. GSA's final round auditions will be hybrid, which means that some auditions and reviews will take place in person at the University of Kentucky, and some will take place via online via Zoom. Obviously, dance will be in person if you are able to advance to the final round audition itself. We will announce the GSA class of 2025 as well as alternates placed on the wait list on April the 11th. We will announce the GSA class of 2025, as well as the alternates placed on the wait list on April the 11th. And finally, the dates of GSA 2025 are June 8th through the 28th, which is session one, but dance is only offered during session two. So for those who are wanting to apply for dance, dance is only offered in July 6th through the 26th, session two. If you are applying for another art form like design, design is only offered in session one. So if you're a dancer that likes to do a little bit of architecture, design, or things in that particular realm, design's only in session one, dance is only in session two. So I'm going to end our PowerPoint presentation right there. And what I'm going to do is actually move towards our application guide here in just a few moments. So give me a hot second, everyone. All right, and we're going to pull it right up. All right, and so when you go to the Kentucky GS, was it KentuckyGSA.org? You will go to a website that has all 9 applicant guides. And so what you see here is our dance applicant guide that you will be utilizing to help guide you through the submitting process of the preliminary rounds and the final round audition itself. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. So this is what you'll see. This is our cover page, which takes you directly into our table of contents. The table of contents will actually provide you with just the rundown and structure of the applicant guide, which will give you the program description, preliminary round application requirements, final round requirements, criteria, tips, and then the application timeline and deadline itself. And we'll keep scrolling just because. And so that's the program description. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk a little bit about the preliminary round application requirements. Remember that these requirements are due on January 12th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard. And if you're in all the way in Western Kentucky, it's Central Standard at 10:59 Central Standard Time. Please remember that. Please remember that you can submit all of your material at what this little link here is called accepted. It says submit the materials in this section through the online platform accepted no later than January 12th. And there's a whole video guide that will help you and walk you through how to submit your material. So let's talk a little bit about the preliminary rounds items and stuff that you have to submit. So for the dance preliminary round, they will ask for 2 recommendation forms. Now, you don't have to have a recommendation from a school counselor. You don't have to have a recommendation from even a school administrator. But what we are asking is that you have recommendations from, preferably from folks who know you, one, within your art form, and two, know you about your character. They want to be able to speak to not only your character and your integrity, but they also want to speak to your grit and your drive and the dance components that you're about to partake during this application process itself. And so please make sure that you reach out to your recommenders way in advance and that you don't wait until a few days before you're ready to submit. Give them the application recommender form information way in advance so they're able to get that into the system um, within a timely fashion itself. And so you're going to need 2 recommendation forms. You're going to need a personal short essay. There will also be a personal question video that you'll have to submit. In addition, there may be some art form specific questions. And then with all of our dance, we're going to ask you to submit 1 modern technique video, 1 ballet technique video, and 1 dance from the African diaspora. So let's get into just a little bit about the preliminary round, just a little bit more. So we've already talked a little bit about the two recommendation forms, and you can enter in your recommenders' emails into accept it, and then that will automatically submit to them the application recommender form. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your personal short essay. So within this particular applicant guide, it says how can or why should the art form you are applying in be of importance to your community or society as a whole? Provide an answer that is specific to the art form you are applying for. We want you to be honest. We want you to be authentic in your response. No reason to really rehearse that, but we really want to see what you are about. We really want to see your energy. We want to see what you're bringing forward in the process itself. Upload this essay response as a document file. So Word document will be completely fine itself. And then as we start to kind of get into the personal question video, this video is going to be 90 seconds max. And the first question is, why is the art form you are applying in important to you? What are your goals for yourself as an artist in this art form? As always, we're asking you to be upfront and asking you to be authentic, open, and honest. Theresa, can you tell me a little bit about your perspective on what you look for in our dance applicants during the personal question video?
Sure. I'll just say, we're looking for a chance to get a little bit to know you beyond the dancing. We're going to see videos of you dancing, but we want to know what motivates you. Why, why do you dance? And for a lot of you, where you are in your life, you're going to be pretty similar as to the reasons why you are into this art form. So I ask you to delve really deeply and think about, you know, what makes this important to you? What makes it important for you to share this with others? And how does your dancing impact others and yourself? You know, again, being as doesn't have to be super formal. Again, we want to get a gauge of your personality, but it also should require some planning and thoughtful thinking before you actually record the video. So you can, if you're the type of person who really needs to plan everything out, but if you plan everything out, just be careful that you don't just read something off a note card or a poster board and not let us see your personality. But also, if you're someone who likes to be a little bit more off the cuff, make sure that you are directed in your answer, that you aren't just rambling as well. So we want to make sure that we get our question answered, but we also get to know who you are.
Wonderful, wonderful. Directly from the adjudicator's mouth, from her mouth to your ear. All right, and so there may be an art form specific questions. Applicants will be asked questions about their specific interests in their art form and their level of access to training, classes, and lessons. We recognize that dance, visual arts, instrumental music, as it deals with your experience with training and classes and lessons, our adjudicators really just kind of want to know what you're able to bring one to the table, and then they're able to build their curriculum around you, right? We also know that everybody's going to come in at different levels. And so we want to be able to just kind of assess, where you're at in your dance life, in your dance world. And so, Theresa, is there anything in particular that, from an adjudicator standpoint, that you would want to pour into our young dancers for the art form specific questions?
Again, I think I believe these questions kind of ask you about your training and how much training you've had. I know that sometimes when we talk about how many hours you're in the studio, we might get that confused with rehearsals and choreography practice and things like that. That's not what we're looking for in those questions. We're looking how much are you actually learning and practicing and training in the technical aspects of dance. But then we're also looking at how you think about dance and how are you seeing dance, how you are you experiencing dance that may be out of outside of formal settings. So what are you thinking, how broad a scope is your dance? I think a lot of times as dancers, we kind of have a narrow vision, especially where most of you are in your training, that what you do is at your studio, your competition team, all that. But how else does dance exist in the world? And how much of that are you aware of beyond what you do on a daily basis?
Great. All right. And so after the art form specific questions, we get to the technique and solo videos. In this particular session, we're giving you all the parameters, the guardrails on what to do with your video itself. So record your audition in an interior space that is safe for dancing. A dance studio or a stage space are highly preferred, but not required. An alternative space that measures a minimum of 12 by 12 can work for the movement requirement itself. So do not record into a mirror as well. And so there are some quick tips and facts here throughout the applicant guide that tells you what you should do and what should try to stray away from as you start to kind of think about the recording of your audition video itself. So let's get into a little bit about the modern technique video as well. And so your modern technique video, as you are starting to record, should be 1 minute max. And you be honest, let me actually backtrack and hit a few of these points just for the sake of it. There should be no cutting or splicing or zooming in any of your videos itself. Two, the modern technique video, if you are recording in a space that measures approximately 12 feet by 12 feet or less, you may adjust the pathway of the final jump sequence. For ballet technique videos, if you are recording a space that measures approximately 12 feet by 12 feet or less, you may adjust the pathway of the final big jump sequence so that it travels in a circular pathway. Do not include in an introductory frame stating your name anything outside of what is listed in the requirements. So please make sure that you're paying attention to these small details. Also, do not submit recordings of recitals, dance concerts, or competitions. We are looking to see just you and the space and all of the required components to that particular video. Please remember to review the video after uploading into your application to ensure quality sound and image. Verify that the image is upright, not sideways, plays smoothly, and plays through to the end. So let's chit chat and talk a little bit about the modern technique video, which is 1 minute max. And I will actually release the mic back to Theresa to kind of give us a little bit more insight on this modern technique video since she is our expert in-house and resident of dance.
Sure. So the modern dance technique video is looking for what your knowledge is and skill is in modern dance technique. Modern dance has a lot of different codified techniques. And if your studio or your experience has allowed you to study modern dance, some of this movement that's required of you might look familiar and some of it's not. So we know that you could be trained in Graham technique or Horton technique, Cunningham technique, or even release technique, or you might not have any of that experience at all. And that's okay. So we're asking you to look at the video, replicate the movements that you see. But in addition to replicating the movements that you see, I highly recommend reading the descriptions that is given. And I know sometimes it's hard to read a description of dance steps. We're often visual learners as dancers. But if you're confused about something, that written description can probably help you decipher what you're seeing in the video. So if, for instance, if you're looking and you're like, I can't tell if that's her right foot or left foot, if you look at the written description, it might tell you exactly, use the right foot to do this, and then that will help clarify that. We're looking for an awareness of alignment, awareness of what it means to be grounded in dance. And again, we know that a lot of people might not have experience in modern dance. So this is an opportunity to showcase that, hey, I don't have a whole lot of experience in this, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try and get the details. I'm willing to try to understand the musicality of what's happening in this particular sample. So I really highly recommend, if you don't have a lot of experience in the modern technique video, to take the time. Don't wait until the last minute, but definitely start sorting through it early. The video can be a bit of stamina involved to do it. So that's another thing that you might want to have a lot of practice before you actually record it, so that you can do the entire video in one take, on one video take, and not get lost or tired. So again, just as Jason mentioned before, there is no cutting, splicing of any video. You have to do it in one take. And again, that's because we're not only looking at that your ability to pick up movement, your ability to replicate with attention to detail, but we're also looking for your strength and stamina. So that's why there should be no cutting or splicing of the video.
Amazing, amazing. And so we're going to keep on going since we are on a roll with information. This is just additional requirements for the Modern Technique video. You can find this on page 8 of the applicant document. So let's chat about ballet technique. So we're asking for 1 minute and 25 seconds max. And so could you give us some detail about the ballet requirements for the ballet video recording?
Sure. So for the ballet video, we are primarily asking to see center work, so not any bar work. And again, it's everything that you can do in center in one long combination. So we're looking at adagio, we're looking at waltz and pirouette, we're looking at petit allegro, and we're looking at grand allegro. And so all of this is meant to, again, demonstrate your knowledge of ballet technique and your ability to transition from one step to the next. Again, if you have a lot of ballet technique, this might, or has studied, trained extensively ballet, I encourage you again to think about the details of the of the video, the musicality, and the lines that you should be demonstrating and correcting. And if you haven't had a lot of ballet technique, again, using your ability as a dancer to be a visual learner and to replicate what you see. Again, be careful about not mirroring what you see. So, and we definitely, again, like you can see here where it says requirements for the ballet video, below are as follows on the page there. It says, begin standing in fifth position with your right foot facing front. So if you mirror the video, your left foot is going to be in front. So really make sure you read the details so that you are giving us what we are looking for. Again, it's not always, if it's not 100% perfect, that's not necessarily a strike against you. One of the biggest things I can say in all the dance video is to do your very best, to what you see in the video is the minimum we're looking for, but your chances of getting into the second round is when you go above and beyond. So again, this is a very long video that, a minute and a half probably doesn't sound very long, especially for many of you who do routines that are 2 minutes or 4 minutes long, but it can feel long as a solo. And so again, make sure you start practicing it early enough so that you have the stamina to get all the way to the very end with your best energy and strength to really create the lines that are needed. I think sometimes we kind of forget about how much stamina is important in doing these videos, as well as memory. It's a lot of information to remember. And so the sooner you start learning it, the better that you will perform it when you actually sit down and record it.
Excellent.
Oh, let me add as well, you do have the option in ballet to do point work. It's not required. So if you've had at least 2 years of ample training and have sufficient technical strength and development to do point work, you can add just I can't let me see here. You can add you can extend slightly past the 1 minute 25-second time limit to show us your point work. And on in there it says that you get to design this combination instead of doing the combination that we ask you to do. You just have to do a combination that you can create or a teacher of yours can create that shows releves, passe releves, échappés, and a pirouette, and you can use music of your choice.
Excellent. In addition, required apparel for the ballet video. All dancers must wear a color that contrasts with the background of the video. Costumes, rehearsal, tutus, skirts, jewelry, and warm-up clothes are not permitted. For applicants who identify as female, pink or skin tone tights, leotard in a contrasting color from video background, soft ballet slippers. You'll have to correct me if I say this wrong. Point
Wait,
shoes.
yes.
Okay, only for point work, and then long hair secured in a bun, hair in general pulled away from the face. For applicants who identify as male, leotard or unitard, or tight-fitting t-shirt and tank top tucked into tights, in contrasting color from video background, soft ballet slippers, hair and long pulled away from the face. And for our applicants who identify as non-binary, a combination of attire from the traditional binary male or female wardrobe is acceptable. All right, Teresa, I think we're getting towards the end of it, or getting close. So can you talk to us a little bit about the African diaspora video, and what our applicants should be expecting with this particular requirement?
Sure. So just to get people familiar, what are dances from the African diaspora? So it's basically any style of dance that has roots in African dance. So there is traditional African dance, there is contemporary African dance, but also jazz dance, hip hop, tap dance, all have roots in African diaspora. So that is what's included in this area of dance in our, not only at our application, but in our program. But for this particular video, we are looking at your ability to show us contemporary African dance. So again, we have a series, a video for you to follow and learn the steps. Again, as visual learners, you can follow the video. But again, down there in the middle of this page here is the written out portion of what it is you're supposed to be doing. So it says, begin standing in neutral position of feet, do a series of triplet steps, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. That is all translating the actions of the video. So again, if you get confused about what it is you see, I highly recommend that you go to the written part and make sure that you are on the correct foot, that you are facing the same way. And it might even, like, if you're not understanding the movement, it might give you a little bit more information of how you're supposed to do that movement. Again, I recommend if you've never done any kind of African dance, that there's a wealth of resources online that can give you a little bit more tutorials. And this is the same for modern dance and ballet, that if you are having trouble with a step, sometimes if you go above and beyond, which is what we're looking for, and you go and do a little bit of research to learn how to do it, it's going to show in your video. Again, this is a sample that is a minute and 11 seconds long, and that it is requires a lot of stamina. So again, learning it as early as you can, having enough time to practice, build that stamina, it's only going to make your performance better. So we definitely don't want to see dancers who kind of lay off the energy. It's a high energy dance. Make sure that you maintain that energy all the way throughout. And in addition, I can understand that sometimes dances that we're not familiar with, whether that's ballet, modern, or dances from the African diaspora, might make us uncomfortable. But at GSA, we really are looking for people who want to experience new things and who
Mhm.
are willing to push themselves out of their comfort zone and take risk. So if you can show that not only in this particular video, but any of the videos that you are a go-getter, that's going to work to your advantage in being asked to come and be seen in the live round. So again, I can't stress enough to go above and beyond the sample video, and just know that everyone that that is applying, so it's, you have to think about not only the video that you are submitting, but you have to think about how that compares to everyone else that's submitting. So if you do the bare minimum, that is totally fine, but the bare minimum in comparison to everyone else that's applying might not be enough. So how can you go above and beyond in the personal essay, the video essay, and all the dance samples that we're asking for?
Great. And so this is just some additional information. So required apparel for dances from the Africa diaspora videos. So we are asking for a leotard, female identifying or non-binary unitard, or bactard, all genders, or tight-fitting shirt, male identifying or non-binary is in a contrasting color from a video background. And then dancers may wear traditional African dance attire, such as a lalapa,
Yes.
female identifying or non-binary, or a dashiki, male identifying or non-binary, with their leotard shirt and bike shorts.
You're not required to do that. Again, that's optional. If you happen to own a lapa or a dashiki and it helps you feel the movements, you are more than welcome, but it is definitely not required.
Wonderful. All right. So that takes us past the whole preliminary round application and sending in your stuff just to get your foot in the door. So what happens to those who go on from the preliminary round and they get accepted into the final round? And so these are the final round requirements. So if a student gets pushed into the final round, we actually will be sending you pre-review questionnaires. And so see more information below. So let's chit chat and look at this. Applicants who advance to the final round will be forwarded to a new section of their application and accepted, called Application Part 3. This new part of the application will include a short questionnaire. The questionnaire may cover a range of topics, including your previous experience in your art form, your favorite artist, and or your college and career goals. The questionnaire is not a quiz and it is not scored, but it is a way for adjudicators to get to know you just a little bit better. We kind of want to know you well-rounded. We want to get a well-rounded picture of who's applying and who's trying to come to the 2025 experience. The questionnaire may be used to customize questions in your interview. And so if you get accepted into the final round, you'll have the pre-review questionnaire prior to the final round. And then during the final round on Friday and Saturday, you will have a master class and you will have an actual interview itself. And I will have Miss Theresa once more tell us a little bit about the master class setup and also the interviews.
Sure. So the master class, it's 3.5 hours long, and you will do. It's a lot of dancing, but for those of you who do workshops or one-day conventions, it's very similar in that way. So we will explore modern dance, um, ballet, African dances from the African diaspora, as well as improvisation, and we're just looking at an opportunity to see you work in a live setting, how well that you can pick up combinations, how you handle corrections and your ability to apply them in real time. We also look at your understanding of vocabulary and spatial awareness with other dancers. And so we are looking at not only at your technical abilities, but your artistic intentions and um, and how you work with not only faculty, but how you work with other students. After the master class, we have small group interviews. So it's not one-on-one interviews, but there'll be anywhere between like 5 to 6 dancers who apply will come and meet with the adjudicators. And we ask you a series of questions about, why you want to go to GSA and also in general, what you are thinking about dance and what you know about dance. And then that's pretty much it. It's a long day, so just be prepared for that. But it's a fun experience, and I think if you get to the live, sometimes auditions. Well, I'll just say it, auditioning is a skill as much as any pirouette
Mhm.
or leap, and it's nerve-wracking because you're suddenly dancing with people that you don't know. But I think if you go in with the mindset of that it's a learning experience, that you can only have it's an experience to gain something as opposed to be disappointing or defeating. You have something to learn and something to take away from it. So to go in with the experience of having fun, of learning and growing and meeting other dancers in the state of Kentucky, and then just really do your very best that you can. Sometimes we get caught up in comparing ourselves to other, but the only person you should be competing with in that moment is yourself, and that's showing the best you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And please don't forget what to wear for the interview. Business casual for all dancers. Please do not wear dance attire or warm-ups for this portion of the final round audition. Just a nice little highlight um, for the interview itself. And so, criteria. Anything that you would like to kind of highlight within the criteria components of the applicant guide, Teresa?
Sure. Everyone sometimes thinks that technical skills are the only thing that matters, like how, did I nail this pirouette? Get that, did I get my leg high enough? That is one part of dancing, and we are looking for dancers who are proficient in at least two of the three technical aspects that we're looking for. So just also to just reiterate, in the GSA dance program, we focus on dances from the African diaspora, modern dance, ballet, and choreography or composition. So while technical skills are really important, there's a lot of things that make up a really great dancer, right? So here it says that dance exhibits alignment, flexibility, balance, correct muscular and skeletal execution. Yes, but we also know that you are still young dancers in training. So you might not have all of those perfect yet, but you are growing and learning. She'll show us that you have what foundation you have, but how you're willing to grow. Core strength is really big, guys. As a lot of times, I think everybody thinks, oh, if I do a lot of abs, that's what core strength is. But core strength is really being able to show dynamic alignment, and so understanding what is the connection between muscular and skeletal what is that relationship in order to maintain dynamic body alignment. Of course, being able to pick up exercises in choreography is really showing us how well at the GSA program as well through the audition. We teach very fast. We only have 3 weeks. It sounds like a lot of time, but we want to make sure that we can get as much as we can in during the program. So we're looking for the ability of your ability to pick up information fast and reproduce it in a reasonable amount of time. And then, of course, artistic choices. It's not enough just to replicate and see what you do. Who are you as a dancer, and what is it that you bring to any exercise, not just choreography? What are the little details that take you above and beyond what is maybe the average or the midpoint? What takes you up and above and beyond that? And sometimes it's hard to remember artistic choices when you're nervous and you're trying to just get the combination or learn it. But that extra bit of artistic choices, maybe in the way you tilt your head or the way you move your arm or the timing that you choose to do, can make a big difference in making you stand out among the masses.
Awesome. Excellent criteria. And then the last thing here within the applicant guide is just some tips from our adjudicators to you itself. Are there any particular tips that you would want to, like one or two that you would really want to highlight before we step away from the applicant guide?
Sure. I want to say that just remember you are permitted to have the assistance of a teacher or mentor. I think a lot of times dancers' mentality is that we have to do it all by ourselves. And while that is a great work ethic to have, it is important to be able to say, hey, I don't know what this is, I don't understand what this is, and you can get help. Now just remember the video should reflect your skills and your understanding of the requirements, but but if it helps you understand the weight shift, if you need to understand the weight shift or how to get from one step to the next, you should ask someone and get help. And then the other thing I would say is be, this says for the final round, be early, but I also can't stress that enough for the preliminary round. We're asking you to do a lot of things. And I can tell you that that as Jason said here, is we'll get a lot of people who will do things and submit things at the last minute. And it's a lot of stuff to do at the last minute. And it's exhausting to do that much dancing, because I guarantee you probably will not be happy with the first take that you do of the video, and you'll want to do it again. And if you do the modern video and you record it 4 times, and then you do the ballet video 3 times, and then you do African video that's a lot of dancing, and that's very exhausting. And will you get better the more tired you get? So I really recommend planning and being early in tackling one, tackling the other, the next video, or whether you tackle it all at the same time, that you are working on it as early as you can. Do not wait for Christmas break. It's never enough time. So can't stress that enough.
Excellent tips, excellent wisdom, excellent knowledge. Thank you, Teresa, for that. And so Obviously, you'll see a few pictures here. And so let's just take a look one more time at the application timeline and deadlines. So October 4th, the applications have already been open. They've been open for a little bit over a month, actually a month exactly today. And then our GSA applications are due on January the 12th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard, 10:59 Central Standard. The GSA finalist announcement. So if you have made it past the preliminary round, round one to round two, we will make that announcement on Valentine's Day, February the 14th. The actual in-person auditions for dance will be March 21st and 22nd, and those will be held at the University of Kentucky. Please plan, you'll either be on the 21st or you'll be on the 22nd. But please plan on a full day from the morning at 9 a.m. with the possibility of going till about 6 o'clock that evening. So already please start to plan accordingly, at least mentally and emotionally, for a full day of just interaction and just dance itself. And then we will actually make the full announcement on all of those students who got accepted and for those who are our alternates for our GSA class of 2025 on April the 11th. And then for all of our dancers, what's really important for you is that you will be put in session two. So session two starts July 6th through July 26th. There are no dance options for session one in June. All of our dance offerings will be in session two in July. And then, just for a reminder, we are here to support you through all of it. Please feel free to email us or call us at the information listed below. If you are having technical issues with the actual online application itself, we will always stress first, please email accepted at support@getaccepted.com or even call them with their number 1-888-725-2122 and then press 2 when prompted. Or if there's just additional information or questions that you have about the process in GSA and dance, please feel free to give us a call or email us at the information provided here in the applicant guide. You can always go back to this dance webinar um, and look at all the information and the tips and all of the great nuggets of wisdom that Theresa provided you within this last hour. So please feel free to just contact us and communicate with us on what your needs are. Theresa, I think we did it. And
Okay.
now I think I am going to open up the Q&A. So if there are any questions that you would like for Theresa to be able to answer about dance, please feel free to put them in the Q&A portion of the Zoom, and we will check those out right now. And Theresa, while the questions may be coming in, if there are any questions, I'm going to go take a look at Facebook to see if we have any questions there.
Sure. While he's looking, I'm just going to reiterate again. Please read the requirements carefully and follow them. You know, some things that we definitely don't want to see, if at all possible, is that the speeding up or slowing down of music or using music that is not that is different than what is asked for in the applicant guide. I would also say, really, if you can, if at all possible, please make sure that that camera is placed in the center of the room and not in the corner. Again, there are exceptions if your space is really small, but if you can, make sure that your whole body is seen. And in addition, just make sure that you not only just execute what are asking for in the videos and in the essay questions, but to always show who you are as a dancer. You want to stand out from everybody else that's applying.
Yeah. All right, Theresa. Excellent information. Thank you. We have one question for us. It says, for the ballet video, if you are doing a point section, do you have to wear the point shoes the whole time?
So I think you're asking, do you do the ballet section in point shoes and then add the point section later? So no, we want to only see the ballet requirements in soft shoes, and then you can add a second video. You will be able to upload a second video that is just point. And if you're doing that point section, yes, for all those requirements that we're asking, you should be in point shoes for those releves, those pate releves, and the pirouette. I feel like there's one more other requirement. So that should be a separate video that you'll be able to upload that will be the point video. That it should be separate from the ballet requirement video, which should only be in soft shoes.
Excellent. All right. All right, we have another question. Good evening. Are we allowed to ask questions about the GSA dance experience itself? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I can give you, for myself, I can give you the general experience of our students, right? That come in, but Theresa can give you more of a detailed dance experience itself. And so I'll allow Theresa to go first, and then I'll come back and supplement some of the experiences on the rest of the GSA experience.
Sure. Before I answer that, Lucy, do you have something specifically you wanted to know about the GSA dance experience before I just ramble on about it? Maybe you're typing. I'll just say the GSA dance experience. So there are 4 areas that the program focus on. Oh, what would daily schedule look like? Yeah, sure. So, I'll just start with what I was saying. We focus in 4 areas, which is modern ballet, composition, and dances from the African diaspora. Students get training in all of those art forms or all those disciplines and experience them equally. A daily schedule is a lot of dancing. So during the program, we have what we call studio time and non-studio time. So studio time typically is 3 sessions during the day. We have a morning studio time, which is typically about 3 hours, an afternoon studio time, which is 4 hours, and an evening studio time, which is 3 hours. The morning studio time is mostly technique classes. And then the afternoon session is a combination of technique classes, rehearsals, or interdisciplinary interactions with other art forms. And then the evening session can be more rehearsals and probably seminars. So our seminars can include anything from nutrition, college and career, injury prevention, things like that. So I would just say, if you do come to GSA, be prepared to dance a lot. So I know a lot of times that dancers feel like they dance a lot already. They, go at their studio probably right after school at 4 and are there till 9 p.m. Yeah, and that's a 5-hour day. But at GSA, we're talking about like 10 hours of dancing. So it's not every day, but it's more than half of the days at GSA, you'll be dancing at least a 10-hour day. So that's pretty much what daily schedule look like. We start every day with what we call a morning announcement, which is a all school presentation. We go into that first studio session, which again is either 1 or 2 technique classes. We go break into lunch. The afternoon session, again, is either more technique classes or rehearsals, and then we break for dinner. And then the evening can be either more all school performances or presentations, or it is more dancing, which is usually rehearsals or seminars.
So yeah, that is a phenomenal breakdown that Theresa just did. So 8 o'clock breakfast, 9 o'clock morning presentation, 10 to 1 morning rehearsal or studio, 1 o'clock lunch, 2 to 6 afternoon rehearsal or studio time, 6 o'clock dinner, 7 o'clock either morning rehearsal, live performances, or more studio. So yeah, if you don't love dance yet, you will. You'll get your fill. Also, what are the requirements for attire? Is it the same as the requirements for the audition videos?
It's similar. It depends on each faculty that is teaching the particular discipline. So a lot of times we want dance attire so we can really check your alignment and be able to help you, dance with correct alignment, which of course prevents injury. But there's some give and take within the requirements. But yes, a basic dance attire, leotard tights is required for most of the dance forms, but then there are leeways within each dance form. For instance, you may be permitted to wear ballet skirts, you may be permitted to wear warm up clothing at the beginning of the class, but then have to strip off by the time the third exercise at the bar. Modern dance, the same thing as usually typically leotard and tights or long bike shorts. African is typically the same, and in composition, because it's more about the creative process, there can be a little bit more. It just mostly clothes that you can move in as well. So I would say the basics, yes, are there, but again, with each faculty member, they might have more specific requirements.
I do have a question or follow-up question to that. And so, how many sets from your particular experience, sets of leotards and tights, and should students be thinking that they should bring for the whole program?
Yes. So one of the things that is as we know as dancers, we are doing a physical activity. So we have to have a lot of dance clothes. And I would say at bare minimum, you could probably get away with, you know, six leotards or six t-shirts and tights for male, identifying dancers. Um, but I think that's the least you can go with because sometimes dancers want to change from each session during lunch because their leotard is soaked or their dance wear is soaked. And if you're a person that is changing dance attire a lot, then you might want to bring more because I can't guarantee when you will do laundry. The schedule is so packed. There are times to do laundry, but there's also 250 other students who are trying to do laundry as well. So I think the more you have, the better. The other thing that I know is a concern of dancers sometimes is the warm-up clothing, and it also, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, we are on a large college campus, so whenever we have to leave one studio and go to another studio or go to the dining hall or to the theater, we have to cover up our dance leotards. We are used to being in those type of clothing, but other people are not used to seeing bodies in that type of dance wear, so it's important to cover up. But it's also July when we have the summer program, and it's very hot, and wearing layers is people will, again, depending on your preference, you may want to be changing a lot, you may not. So I would say if you're a person who loves to do laundry, you can get away with very little, but if you're a person who doesn't like to do laundry, you might want to pack a lot.
All right. I remember that being a level of ask or question or concern this past summer, with students being able to just, I don't have time to do laundry. Well, did you bring additional sets of clothing? So yeah. Are you allowed to wear colored leotards or do we need to wear all black?
For the audition videos, please wear a color that is contrasting to your whatever space you're performing in. So, for instance, if you are performing on a stage and they have a black curtain behind you, it would be better if you wore a colored leotard. If you as opposed to black one and blending into those black curtains. So please wear a contrasting color for the audition videos. But if you're asking about during the program, you can definitely wear colored leotards. They do not all have to be black.
Yeah. All right. I'm looking. I don't see any additional questions. I'm going back to Facebook. I don't see any questions there. Maybe I'll check one more time. No questions there. Theresa, I think we did it.
Hey,
Everyone, to all of our five attendees, thank you so much for attending this dance webinar this evening. If there are any additional questions, like I said, please remember to one, call us or use the email that's been provided. And you can always go back to this dance webinar to look at all the information and just to kind of get a refreshing. But also please go on to our website, KentuckyGSA.org, to make sure that you're getting this applicant guide that has all of the information that you need to be able to submit your videos by the deadline. Um, so I think that's all I have. Do you have any last parting words of wisdom, Ms. Theresa?
just again, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by applying, and do your very best, whatever that is for you and whatever you have the time to do. But I, again, just encourage you to give this application some time so that you can definitely present your very best.
Amazing. Everyone, we look forward to seeing your applications within the upcoming months and weeks. Thank you all once again for joining us this evening for this dance webinar. If you have any questions, please reach out. And like we say every day at GSA, Go forth and make great art.